everyone, Austin here at The Real Seal, back again for another FAQ video to talk to you about everything you need to know about I-beams. I-beams are the main support of the floor of your house. This is that main metal beam or wooden beam, depending on how old your home is, that runs the length of your home. All of your joists sit on this beam perpendicularly, meaning when you look up and you have all your floor joists running this way, your beam will run this way. It's there to help span the gap between either side of the foundation to hold those joists up so you don't have bouncy floors, sloping floors, or otherwise falling into your basement floors. Whenever we're talking about I-beams, the first question that always comes up is, do I have to replace my wooden support or wooden I-beams? It is not always necessary to replace your wooden support or wooden I-beams. Sometimes they were built with the supports close enough together and the basement was waterproofed and didn't have major issues where it caused deterioration in these beams. The times that you do need to replace them are when the I-beam starts to smile, meaning it's sagging. You see deterioration and rotting at the bottom of the wooden support, or if you see cracking along the wooden support or the wooden I-beam. All three of these instances of you being able to visually inspect the I-beam are a clear sign that that beam should be replaced with a steel one. You'll see the symptoms of this upstairs. If you have bouncy floors, if you put a ball on the floor and it rolls to the wall, or if you have areas where the floor seems like it even steps up a little bit. These are all signs that your I-beam is not straight and is some sag or deterioration happening that could be an issue. What are the supports made of? Whenever an I-beam support is replaced, it's typically replaced with a steel 3.5-inch round beam. Now the reason that we use these 3.5-inch steel tubes instead of wood is, one, obviously they're water resistant. Ours are all galvanized, so they're not going to rust or deteriorate if there's water in the basement. And two, they're a whole lot stronger. Termites, splitting are not factors that you have to take into consideration. Now, when you're replacing the I-beam itself, this is typically replaced by a 6-inch steel I-beam. The code name that you would use with a metal supplier would be a W6 by 26. And what this means is it's a 6-inch tall beam that weighs 26 pounds per foot. For a 10-foot beam, which is the typical length of a beam replacement section, and if your basement's 40 feet, that would be 4 beam sections, would be 260 pounds. So obviously this is a large project that is dealing with quite heavy situations and the support of your home, not something that you want to DIY. Will the new I-beam be strong enough to support the weight of the home and the floors above it? Absolutely. The steel I-beams are stronger than anything out there. It is important to note that there is a span limit, meaning you typically don't want to go double the width of the I-beam. So if it's a 6-inch I-beam, you don't want to go any further than 12 feet with the I-beam. We still recommend only going 10 feet because we have seen at 12 feet that beam sag with excess weight above, and that can cause windows and doors in your home not to open. The best practice in the industry is to install 10-foot sections of I-beam with supports on either end to ensure that you have enough strength and stability to hold the floors up in your home. Does this type of work require a permit? Now, every township is different. Some of them require a permit if you're replacing or installing a new I-beam. Some of them don't require a permit if you're just replacing an existing I-beam, but most will require a permit if you're installing a new one. The best thing to do is to go to your township and ask them, will I need a permit for this, and lay out the different quotes you have. That way you can be sure that it's inspected and it's done properly so that you don't need to be worried about faulty work. Why do I need a concrete footer to put these supports on? The supports that are in my basement now just sit on the basement floor. That's probably true. And it's also probably the reason you're calling us. Not because your beams and supports are so good you just wanted to show them off to a company, but because they're so bad you need them replaced. Your I-beam supports need to be on a footing which is typically 2 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet deep, rebar reinforced. This is because you need to spread the weight of that home and the support from the 3.5-inch base out wider so that support doesn't just drive and sink into the ground. Obviously, it's not going to do this all at once, but over time it does it, which is why a lot of times that is what causes sagging floors. So you need to have a proper footing in order to install this. If that beam is installed outside for like a porch or something, you're going to need to dig that footing down beneath the frost line if you are in an area of the country that has a frost line. This is because you don't want that footing going up and down with the seasons, causing your home and your floors to go up and down. Big question we get if we're doing a full I-beam replacement is, can you level my floor out now that we're doing this all at once? The short answer is no. We can do some adjustments to the beam and the supports to get that beam as level as possible. But many times when a floor starts to sag or get uneven, homeowners and contractors will come in and level that floor, shim areas, reset doors and trim in order to accommodate for the sagging floor. If we push that back up, much like when we do our foundation pier lift, we're now going to push all of those repairs out of place. So if they have done nothing to the home since that floor has started to sag, it is possible to lift it up a bit, but it doesn't always go back exactly into place. And our goal, or any contractor's goal when they are replacing your I-beam, is not to level your floor, but to level and secure your I-beam. It is the flooring contractor's job to level your floor after the fact. You can also get finishers and handymen to fix any drywall cracking, reset any doors, or do any shimming that needs to be done, or undo any shimming that has already been done to get everything up there level. The I-beam is going to secure and create a nice base for you to build upon. Same question as in every video, what's the warranty on this product and service? Warranties differ throughout the country, but physics is physics. Once you get the beam installed with a steel support, a concrete rebar reinforced footing placed properly, that beam's not going anywhere for a very long time. Most warranties that you will find should be about 25 years, if not longer. Again, unless you change the weight above, you start knocking supports down or moving them because you want a little bit more space and you don't want that support in the middle of your home, don't do that. Unless you do anything like that, it's not going to change at all and it's going to be there for a very long time. How's the I-beam installed? I mean, we've got this wooden I-beam that's holding up our house. Austin, how are you guys going to take it out without collapsing the house? Well, most contractors, when they're going to come and do this work, are going to install temporary support beams on either side of the main beam and actually use lift cylinders to take all the weight off that main beam. That way they can get everything down and back up without compromising the integrity of your floor or changing the living situation in it. And yes, you can still live in the home while this work is being done. Will I have to move anything out of the way? Big issue we run into, and most contractors run into, is all the electrical, gas, water lines that utility companies like to nail and screw to wooden I-beams. They even like putting them against the steel I-beams, which every now and again need to be replaced when they're not installed correctly. Whenever the I-beam's being installed, the drywall above and around it, as well as any utilities running along it, are going to need to come off in order for us to remove that beam safely. If you can't see the beam because it is finished beneath it, when a contractor comes, they should give you the option to open it up and come back for a walkthrough so that you know everything that you need to do in order to get this project done correctly. If you have any questions at all about I-beams, I-beam supports, how they're installed, or any of the components of the system, you know you can always cruise through our blog, website, or videos on YouTube, or just give us a call over at The Real Seal, where you know not everything's better when wet.